if you did that. If you didn't, might be not a bad thing to just run it by your thought process. So anyway.
Well, you mentioned, I'll never forget it. But and we're supposed to be a forgiving people, but I won't forgive. I won't forget, and I won't forgive what happened that day. And all those heroes that ran into that building to save people. And I won't forget where I was when the first tower collapsed. And it was just it was a sad day in American history.
Another sneak attack on Americans. It happened in World War II as well, as you know, the Pearl Harbor and whatnot. So this was vicious, atrocious act. And anyway, so sad, but just remember it in a positive way. We move on and just say, okay, we won't forget it, but we do have, I think, an obligation to remember it.
Absolutely.
And since our last program, we had some good news. J.B. Thomas project has been pulled, at least for the time being. The developer, Hemisphere, I think it's Hemisphere Development Group, they pulled the plug on that project, and they're going to, keep that. They're going to evaluate the 3.2 acres up there for future development opportunities or possibilities or whatnot. So who knows whether they're going to come back or not. So I don't think it's completely over, but it's over for now. And I wanted to say congratulations to the neighbors, the neighborhood up there, and because you guys were unified, you stuck together, you stayed together, and you challenged everything, you fought, and wanted your neighborhood to stay the way you wanted it, and you made a difference, and it was because of you, the people of Ward 4, that this developer pulled, because it had to be, because you didn't get much support from local officials who tried to pull the rug out from under you by changing zoning up there, who pulled the rug out from you by not keeping you informed on what was going on, by their lukewarm support for your efforts, because they didn't listen to you. So you fought more than Hemisphere. You fought your own city elected officials, and I'm really proud of the way it came out. And it sends a message to these city officials who are lukewarm on their representation of all of us. They have a responsibility to be accountable to us. And we got an election coming up, and I hope people remember the lukewarm, support and for what you think and what you believe and how you want your neighborhood to be, not some developer from China coming in and telling us what they're going to do. And that's the way the system in this country should work. We've talked about that before. That's the way you neighbors should conduct yourself. Your homes are your most important after your kids and whatnot. Your home is your most important possession you have, and you have a right to live in a neighborhood that you're proud of, and you don't need to be pushed around by anybody. And so, score 1 for the good guys, and 0 for the bad guys. So, congratulations. If you want to jump in there, you can.
Dick, I don't think I can say it any better than you just said it. I mean, you checked off all the boxes. The residents were amazing fighting this project.
They were.
Their ward councilor was against them. He was pushing it against the wishes of the neighborhood. There was some councilors that outright said in the paper they were for it. And they did an amazing job, and I want to thank them. But they still have to be vigilant. They have to remain strong, a tight-knit group, because this will come back. And if it's an election ploy, it'll probably come back after the election and once who ends up on the council. Hopefully, the councilors that went to the meeting, that last meeting, I talked to one councilor and he says, I'm not supporting it now after listening to all those neighbors. So that's a great sign, and I think that you said it awesome. You said it great. I can't say any more.
But from experience, I can tell you from a long line of experience, this is not over yet, and those people who deserted you in your hour of need, so to speak, you needed them when you needed them, they weren't there when you were fighting the fight and you won the fight. If it comes back, don't expect those people to be with you when it comes back. So, like I said, in this case, you don't forget the lack of support, and you overcame unbelievable odds. And I was so happy to see that they pulled the plug on it. But I'm telling you, they're probably going to go round two sometime. You know what I mean?
Also,
So,
don't forget the people that try to intimidate about. We'll put a drug rehab in there. We'll put a pot clinic. We'll,
Yeah.
all
40
the all,
Bs,
yeah,
yeah,
40
all that,
Bs.
yeah, yeah.
Remember all the people that try to intimidate and strong arm you into that development, and they stood strong.
well, you're right. United, was it the Peabody Strong?
No, yeah.
No, Ward 4 Strong. Ward 4
4
Strong.
strong.
So, T-shirt should be printed, Ward 4 Strong. So, but anyway, so congratulations again. You know, I want to, let me just get my thing here. What I want to talk about, another thing that's coming up, and hopefully, I hope it's going to be a positive thing, but, you know, the way it's looking right now, it may not be. Recently, AAA applied for a permit for their towing. Okay, I mean, who hasn't had AAA? I mean, they've been to my house at least 6 or 8 times between my car and my grandson's car. You know, over the last couple of years, and you know, they want to, you know, their motorists, you know, favorite. I guess watchdog. You know, they come out all the time. I mean, they send their agents out all the time to. So, but anyway, make a long story short, we all know what AAA does. But they applied for a permit up on Route 1 behind the old diner, I think.
Behind Red's
yeah.
Diner, Lakeland
Right,
Park.
Lakeland Park. You know, and there's a bunch of trucking outfits up there, including, you know, I won't mention the names, but, you know, the truck services, trucking companies, and I think even FedEx is up there.
Well, JRM's up
And then
on
a-
the
and
main,
then a
on the-
recycle.
they're on the main road,
Right.
but a
So
lot of
anyway-
trucks coming in and out
So
of
anyway, they applied for a special permit and was denied by the city council. And then I guess it was an appeal, or a appeal was filed, and then came back to the council again, and it was denied again,
there. 9-1.
9-1. And the reason given was public safety. Okay, public safety. So what does that mean, public safety? So if you talk about trucks, the place is loaded with trucks up there. You know, everybody's got trucks up there. All their businesses are truck related. So I don't know exactly, you know, what it is, but my sense is that there's something else going on here. And so AAA gets denied. So now Mayor Betancourt sent a letter to the city council and said, you know, we won't prevail in any kind of a legal action if it's filed, and you know, I hope you reconsider your vote, you know, your decision to deny. And that's all fine, well and good, but the problem is there's something, you know, the old saying is something's rotten in Denmark here. So the thing is, I'm saying to myself, well, okay, sounds pretty good, but I have to say, good intentions, you know, good intentions, Mr. Mayor, but too little, too late. The letter you sent was after the fact. It should have been before the fact. If you were going to line up people to make sure that the AAA was not discriminated against in any way, or because of somebody's, let's just say, hidden agenda, okay, then you should have sent it before the vote and not after the fact. So I don't know if this was a CYA action on your part or not, but, you know, I hope, you know, there's a way to kind of give AAA a better shot at you know, a fairer shot at getting their towing business up there, because if they sue, they're going to win, and we don't want to be, you know, as a taxpayer, I don't want to be part of a losing legal battle again by the city. I mean, we lose so many legal battles, and all we do is pay for, you know, lawyers' fees and things like that. So, so that was burning me a little bit, and I didn't like the politics on this issue here. So we're going to have another issue coming at us I mean, don't we ever learn our lessons to do things properly, above board, and, be fair with people? I mean, I don't know what our councils are doing, but I don't know who's pulling the strings, but something's not right there. And anyway, that's my feeling.
Well, there's a couple of things going on, and we talk about lack of civility on the council over the past year and a half.
Yep.
And lack of communication.
Yep.
And if, the mayor disagreed with the councilor that was opposed to this, there should have been a meeting before the second hearing, okay? And try to understand where the council's coming from, what the reasons are, and try to work it out. And if the council said, no, I feel strongly about it, I want no, then the mayor has to do what the mayor has to do. And the mayor has to do is reach out to other councilors, discuss it, and say, look,
lobby them. That's
or
right, yeah.
come to the city council
And
and be,
address
not
it.
at that hearing, but
Yeah.
in between, because I don't know the time frame between the first and the second. It was pretty quick, I think. So, and come and say, look, before this vote, I'm concerned, and let's try to work this out so we don't get ourselves in a bind. But that never happened, and so the letter came out after the denial. And the mayor is telling everybody we're going to lose in court. And there was a comment in there about reconsidering. Well, you can't reconsider it. There's been 2 votes. The way it works is if you file for a special permit, if you're denied a special permit, the council can ask for a motion to reconsider with 24 hours. After the 24 hours, you can't reconsider it. So I'm assuming AAA appealed to the court remanded it back. You have to have another vote. They had their vote, it was voted down again. So I don't know how you reconsider it. The only way they can reconsider it is if there's substantial changes to the special permit. If the council wants to approach, somebody has to approach AAA and say, let's amend this, change the permit, come back again, and hopefully you'll get it. Or they're going to go to court. If there was any restrictions that the special permit could have put on them, those are out the window, because there was talk about not letting the tow trucks go through Farm Ave area with his residents, and that's out the window. And I think Councilor Manning made that comment, if you win in court, please don't let the trucks go that way. So, but I think it comes down to communication. Comes down to respect for your fellow councilors and working together to try to avoid a lawsuit. And this can be applied to so many lawsuits that are going on right now, not just this one. So no matter how the vote went, yes, no, it's just, there's no communication. It's almost like a disconnect. And so we'll see how this plays out.
And the thing is that some of these councils have been on the board for a long time, and they know, they've seen this type of thing before, and they had to have considered the fact that AAA would file some kind of a motion to with the
They're
court.
a giant. They're
Yeah,
nationwide.
right.
There's a huge.
I mean, everybody's running around. They're worried about AT&T, Verizon. Well, AAA is a big outfit too. And the thing is, but I mean, that's not even the issue. The issue is that these councilors know that there's, maybe we should. We need to give substantial reasons why, and one reason was given public safety. Well, what's the deal with the tow trucks? I mean, you got tow trucks up there now. You got trucks up there now going in and out of it. So what's the deal? So that's a kind of a bogus. So that tells me there's something else involved, and so as luck would have it, there's other things involved, and I'm not going to say it, but I know this. There's something else behind the scenes here that is denying this, and that shouldn't be permissible in the political game as much as it is in Peabody. It's unbelievable. This place, Peabody's getting to be a city where, it's like the wild, wild west, and politics, there's shootouts all the time here in Peabody. And, the hidden agendas and the as you say, the communication gaps between councilors is just really hurting all of us. We're not better served by the way these people are acting and by the way they're carrying or not carrying out their duties to all of us. We're not served by that. And it's getting, people are getting fed up with this. They really are. And I hope that, some of these people who are on the ballot are going to be surprised by the vote they don't get. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping that happens, because they're not going to wake up if you don't challenge them at the ballot box and say, look, you're not doing the job. But I'm strongly, I don't really say much. I haven't really said much in the past, but tonight I'm making a little exception, because, I got to be in my bond for the way this council's and this administration's conducting its business, the people's business. And I don't like it, quite honestly. I don't like it. And they're not, the hospital project, the lack of communication between the elected officials that are involved in that project, and the fact that they didn't talk to neighbors, and and things like that's not what it's supposed to be like.
Who does the ward councilor represent? Does he represent the Chinese developer when everybody in the neighborhood tells him, no, I don't want to know? And the fact that the company puts out a notice saying, at the urging of our Ward 4 councilor, well, that morning he put out a thing on Facebook saying, I told him about your concerns. He didn't say anything about urging them to withdraw. Come on, like you said, the people aren't naive.
In the letter to AAA by the mayor, I mean, to be honest with you, come on. I mean, he's been around long enough. He knows that, if that was a concern of his initially, look at mayors call in councils all the time to talk to them, don't they? That's what they do.
Absolutely.
They lobby them, and a mayor's supposed to let the councilors know what his dream is, or his vision, for what's coming up. Not force it down their throat, but let them know his idea on these things. And obviously that wasn't done.
And I don't know where the attorneys were. We got 3 attorneys. Did anybody send a legal notice to the councilors saying we're on slippery slope here? Be careful on the second.
Well, I'm sure that's why the mayor said that they wouldn't prevail in a legal action.
Well, but that's after the fact.
That's
what
after
about
the fact,
between the first and the second hearing?
Right.
Was there any advice given to our council? And that's the responsibility of the city. If he thinks the council's going down the wrong path, then he needs to address the city council before that meeting and say, look, this is what's going on. And
there's nothing wrong with mayors having private conversations with councilors and saying, look, something's coming up, I was advised that blah, blah, blah. I think that sounds like a pretty good project, just to let them know. I mean, what's wrong with that? You're sharing information. It's not you're forcing it down their throat. You're just saying, these are the positives about what I see on this project. And while we're on the subject, and I'm going to let you jump into another issue, because I'm kind of dominating the talk here, but another subject, robocalls. I want some councilor to stand up, I don't care which council it is, stand up and say every elected official in this city should get a robocall. You don't cherry pick who gets it and who doesn't. Because on the cell tower meeting, 2 city councilors did not get notified. Now, that's a disgrace. That's a political embarrassment and a disgrace. And, there's no way to hide from that. That's deliberate. That's deliberate. And it's thuggery. It's political thuggery, And I'm telling you, that shouldn't stand. And that's what's happened just on this meeting that was held last night. And, the mayor is responsible. That's right back on his office, The buck does stop there, Mr. Mayor, allowing that to go on. And I'm ashamed of that. And you should too. Go ahead.
Well, as it comes to robocalls, everybody has different opinions. I thought the robocall system at the beginning was supposed to be more for emergencies. School is closed, we have a snowstorm, get cars off the street. There's going to be, or public notice about, leaf pick, something to let the residents know.
Yep.
But it became something different.
Political.
Well,
it did. It came.
When we start promoting pop-up pubs, like I get all these robocalls. So for an example, They had a ceremony at Symphony Park on a Sunday for a Vietnam veteran who died during the war, and they were putting up a plaque at the park. I served there for 10 years. I've been out of office a year and a half. A robocall went out. I get every single robocall. I did not get that robocall. So I missed the service. I missed the ceremony, and I absolutely would have gone to it. So, but I talked to somebody around the corner from me. They got the robocall. So I don't know if that's random or it's not. But if I get every one, why would I not get that one? Is somebody? Yeah, I would hate to think that somebody is taking me off a list because they don't want me at a memorial ceremony. So, as far as council is not, first of all, any meeting. When you set up a neighborhood meeting, every council should be notified before even that robocall goes out, out of respect to the elected officials to know this meeting is happening. And it's an important meeting, and all of them are named in the lawsuit.
Yep.
So that has to happen. I don't know why people are left out. I don't want to cast aspersions on people about why things happen. And
I will. It was deliberate.
Well,
deliberate.
It may very well be.
There's no casting us that it was deliberate.
And whoever's in charge of it should rethink what they're doing, if that's the case.
Probably only following orders, Cull the list, anybody that, but that's not fair, it's not right, it's not honorable, and it's not above board. If you're dealing in politics, when you deal too much under the table and not put the cards on the table, you got problems. And that's what seems to be happening here in Peabody. Too much of that going on.
And what's the purpose of it? Are you trying to insult the person, or are you afraid to face the person? Like, what's the worst that could happen if they got the robocall and they showed up? They're going to draw swords and duel each other in the parking lot. Like what? This is the job you accepted to be, and sometimes there's conflict and disagreements, and that's part of it. That's life. Everybody goes through that. So I don't know the thought process that goes through it. I just hope that that's not done on purpose. And if it is, stop.
The number one responsibility of an elected official is to represent the people that elect you, people in this city. That seems to have been forgotten. There's too many gamesmanships going on, and hidden agendas, and struggles for power, and ambitions, political ambitions, and something. People see that, they know, and I think some of these elected officials that we have in this city need to go back and figure out why they got elected, why they wanted to get elected.
Look, the other thing is this. There's nothing wrong with the mayor sending out a robocall to the residents of Ward 4, letting them know. I mean, that's even an issue where it could have citywide impact. You may have wanted to send it citywide, but I understand why he sent it to Ward 4. And I don't know how people get left off. But the other thing of this is people are tired of robocalls. So what did we do? Me and you sent out one robocall, and somebody, a couple of people, I got a call, I can't believe you did a robocall. And I'm like, it's a TV show. We're just trying to let people know about our show and public access. There's no devious thing going on why we're notifying people. But then people are telling me they're so tired of the robocalls. Some people tune them out. They have them blocked. And it's become an abuse of it. This and the other thing. There's parties here, there's parties there. And too much of anything is not a good thing. So use it wisely. Use it when it's appropriate. Not to promote drinking outside at a pop-up pub. And that's, people may disagree with me and say, hey, you're promoting a city event, and that's fine, but I don't want it on my phone. I don't need that event. If I want to celebrate, go out and celebrate. But, anyway,
all right. So anyway, we're going to move on, because look at this, we're a half hour into the show already. It seemed like it just started a minute ago. So, but anyway, last night, cell tower meeting, South Peabody. The long, drawn-out cell tower issue has been going on for like
5 years.
Half a decade now, and it's taken, and you have to almost be a PhD to put all of the events around this particular issue in specific order, time frame wise, you know. And I'll be honest with you, I know a lot about it, but I know probably more than I don't know about it, you know what I mean? So, and I know you can put the events in place better than me, but there was, just for everybody out there, there was a cell tower meeting last night, and depending on what reports you read, we know there was well over 100 people there. Don't know if it was 150, 125, but pretty good turnout. And it was at the Brown School, and the mayor actually ran the meeting. Was the key speaker, note speaker, and he wanted, the purpose of the meeting was to clarify the status, the legal status of the cell tower issue, where it is presently right now. So you know more, we both know, but you're pretty good at putting all that stuff together. So, you know, take off on it. If you
So, I think.
and just before we go, just if anybody wants to call in, you've got the number up on the screen, 978-977-0570. If you want to call in on the cell tower or anything else we talked about, please do. Welcome your calls. Sorry, Barry, go ahead.
Oh, so the gist of it is the mayor sent out a robocall, basically wanting to have a neighborhood meeting to clear up, quote-unquote, misinformation that's been on social media, Facebook and emails and newspapers. And then he even mentioned it's gotten into the city council. So I don't know what that's about. I can kind of guesstimate what that was about. So anyway, he convened a meeting. It was very orderly. I wasn't there, but from what I'm told, it was very orderly, very respectful, gave out a lot of information. And the mayor says that no appeal, that the tower cannot be built during this appeal process. And I think Councilor Manning had made a motion for a stay.
A stay, yeah.
And he claimed that that's an illegal motion to make because it could hurt the litigation. But the bottom line is he's saying it can't be built. I hope he's right. And so the kind of the outcome of this meeting, what I've read and what I've talked to my sources is that it's on the PMLP. Everybody's taking this and putting it on the PMLP to
So
negotiate.
hold that thought. All right, we just got a call. The call still there? Call, are you there?
Of course I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yes.
We're trying to assess that now, whether we're here or not. So, all right, what's on your mind?
Are you the two guys that ordered the lobster salad rolls?
We did. It was delicious. It was delicious. So you're going to contribute to the program tonight, or are you going to talk about the plant or lobster sandwiches or what? What are you going to do? You're going to give us something? What's on your mind, politically on your mind tonight?
Well, I haven't heard the term "bee in my bonnet"
Oh, there we
for
go.
the last 50 years.
Okay. Now that you, okay, you're getting pretty good at whacking me around, so that's okay. So, go ahead.
But I can tell you're agitated.
I am a little agitated today. I totally am. I don't know what it is, but I'm spoiling it for a little mixing it up. I'm in good shape for that. So what's on your mind?
I have the solution.
Okay.
We need a Republican.
Any
mayor.
specific one?
Ken Ellis. Kenny Ellis.
All right, come on now.
He was a Republican. He was a Republican before I was.
What'd you think about the project, the J.B. Thomas project getting pulled for a while? Any comment on that?
Common sense prevails.
So do you think it was a smart move on Hemisphere's part? Neil, you're going to have to be more into
I'm
this.
just glad it came out the way it did.
You're going to have to be more into this thing here now.
I heard through the grapevine that years and years ago, when J.B. Thomas died, he deeded the land to Peabody. Gave it to him for nothing. As long as it remained a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to that trust?
Well, I don't know how it happened, but, you know, I think it was during, was it the Region administration of the hospital went down? Yeah. I think it was to
Ding, 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 ding. That makes sense.
yeah. All right.
That guy was a thief.
Glad you called. Glad you tuned us in. I'll be touching base with you soon.
Hey, one more thing.
All right.
One more thing.
Okay.
Sad to see the tri-catamaran, whatever it's called,
No, the boat on Lowell
on Lowell
Street.
Street, gone.
Okay.
It was like an icon. It was a fixture in Peabody.
You know, you're right. You're right about that. So, okay.
Kind of like the statue of the fisherman in Gloucester.
Say it again. I didn't get it.
Statue of the fisherman.
Oh, the fish. Oh, yeah, yeah. Down on Route 1. Yeah, yeah. Well, all right. I mean,
all right.
how about the one on Route 1 there?
I'm giving Barry a headache.
Yeah.
I'm giving Barry a headache. He's like going, oh, my head.
All right.
All right,
Well,
have a
thanks for
good
the call.
night.
I appreciate it.
See you later.
Take care. Be good. Okay.
I lost my train of thought after
All right.
that.
No, you're talking about the cell tower, and then it was being.
Oh, okay,
You got
so,
the sense that it was being dumped on the PMLP now.
I'm not going to use the word blame, but it seems, and come the stories and some of the people that were there, it seems like, I don't want to use the word blame, but they're dropping this on the municipal light plant, and it's their burden, it's their onus, after this city council and some of the votes they've taken have caused it to get to this point.
But let me interrupt for 1 second. But didn't the mayor last night at the meeting specifically say he hoped that the PMLP and Verizon could come to an agreement?
Agreement. And yes,
Okay.
well, that's what I read many quotes in the paper
Right,
from
okay.
the mayor. And that's a problem because he knows very well where the negotiations stand right now. And there was even comments made that if they can't make up the difference, you know, hey, we could pass a hat, or the city, we may be looking into the city putting in the money to make up the difference. So long and short is they're negotiating over the cost to put up these canisters on a pole. And
Now,
I
the
don't
canisters, for our viewers
a
out there.
canister is an antenna
Yeah, like an
that's going to
antenna,
go on existing telephone poles that the light plant will get paid to put. Have these
How
put
big
up.
are they?
I think they're about a foot, a little more
12
than a foot.
inches?
Yeah, that's, I'm not, don't quote me 100%.
14 poles, right?
14 poles.
Okay.
So the light plant has a figure, I believe it's somewhere $550.
Which is what, their cost?
Their cost.
Okay.
So once again, the fake news in the Lynn item says the light plant is out to make money. They want more money. That's not true. That whoever's the source is giving that information, it's not true.
According to our sources?
If the light plant is in that $500, $550 range, that's their cost. The FCC lawsuit right now is somewhere, they want to settle on a number about $270. This is going to be tied up in court from a year to 4 years. And then Verizon is down here at some ridiculously inane amount of money. So and there is wording that you can go above the 270 if you're showing your costs, and that's what their costs are. So anybody say that the light plant is out there gouging Verizon to make more money, in the fact that when the mayor made the comment, well, maybe we'll pay the difference, that's not what it's about. It's not coming up with $2,800 to take care of, you know, the extra cost. Verizon will never agree to it because they plan on putting up millions of poles all over the country, all over the city, all over New England, and they're not going to settle on $500 a pole. Because what is that? You know, they want it for probably.
They don't want to establish a precedent.
A precedent of a higher rate because we're going to make up the money. So that's actually quite ridiculous to say that we'll give them the extra money, because that's not what it's about. They'll never agree to that. They want a figure that's probably in the $30, $40 range, I'm guessing, something ridiculous, and they're playing hardball. And I think that the mayor did the right thing, trying to inform people. There's a lot of riling. People are upset. And I'm not sure what they're going to discuss in executive session tomorrow night. This is the same topic. So we've already gone out into the public, talked about the negotiations. I don't think that it was in detail of what's going on. So it's just, and then the other thing was they promoted everybody call and email your light commissioners, because the first person to speak stood up and said, "Is there an electric light commissioner in the room tonight?" I mean, talk about disingenuous. And what if they were? You're going to lynch them? You're going to hang them in effort like Mussolini and drag them through the street? Like, that's ridiculous. So that was probably orchestrated.
Oh, no doubt.
And then, so people are sending in, emails to the electric light, trying to put pressure on them, strong on them to get, and they're doing because you're going to remember, other carriers have already approached the light plant. So this isn't just about Verizon. You're stuck in this lawsuit for a number of reasons, and we can get into Coolidge Ave in a minute, in that what the comment was made last night, but we're in it for a number of reasons, and I wish the mayor had stepped in a couple of years ago and straightened this whole thing out, and this wouldn't be where this was, because I think he probably could have. You're leaving it to people that are making, emotional or, political decisions. So, so long and short of it is people are now lobbying in, yeah, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to settle now, take a lower amount, lose money. So I'm like, so PMLP should lose money while Verizon makes money. Right? Is that what that was about? They have no obligation. If they can help out the city on this, that's fine. But I just want to say this. So one person who's up to his eyeballs in this, one resident, sent an email. Basically, I don't want the light. I don't want the tower. But at the meeting, somebody talked about cancer causing and radiation from the canisters. Mm-hmm. So this person who's fighting this says, but I don't want the canister in front of my house. I was like, I'm shocked. I was absolutely shocked. That's outrageous.
Not in my backyard.
No, you're going to put it in front of my house?
Not in back.
Right? You're the punishment people. You're going to get one. I'm going to get one. Probably Councilor Manning. So,
not in my backyard.
Not in my. So you got a phone call.
Yeah, let's take this call. Caller, you're on.
Gentlemen,
Hello?
are you still there?
We're
Yes,
here.
I'm here.
Well, it's nice to hear your voices.
Okay.
I can't.
Can you speak up, please?
I'm going to try.
That's
you go.
better.
That's better. Very much.
I was there last night.
Oh, okay.
Barry, you pretty well accurately covered it.
Well, okay.
Much more than I can say about it in the fact that they brought up the proposals. Well, excuse me. They didn't bring up the Coolidge pumping station proposal. They kind of skirted that. And I think, Barry, you probably have a little bit more insight about that proposal that came out as an alternate site to putting it right in the smack in the middle of a neighborhood.
Well, you're talking Coolidge?
Yeah, Coolidge.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be behind the pumping station.
Yeah, in the
next
woods.
to the cemetery or something.
Yeah. I was on the city council at the time, caller. So what happened was Michael's limousine was denied. The city came up with an alternative location, and they presented it to the council at executive session. And I wasn't not at that executive session. At that executive session, Coolidge was approved. Coolidge was approved. Then, after the fact, I think Verizon was told Coolidge is a go, and then something set off something, and now the council floats a balloon 120 feet in the air and says, I can see it, can't have it here, bang, they killed Coolidge. And Verizon says, you told me no, you told me yes, you told me no, I'm suing you. And rightfully so. So if they had just put, and there's been comments, we don't want to put neighborhood against neighborhood. It's in the, like, look, no one wants to put neighborhood against neighborhood, but this is in the woods. 120 feet in the air, you're not gonna, if you see it, you'll see it at the top. So now people are gonna get it right in front of their front door. That's
Right.
better. And life is not always fair, and things happen in this city for a reason. It's not always fair. And if the right moves were made, we wouldn't be in this. And then we denied the 14 polls. That vote took, you know, it went on to 11, 12, midnight. The original 14 polls. That was another one that could have been settled. And if they voted for that, then let Verizon and the PMLP slug out the rates. And if they can't, let them sue PMLP.
Carla, what
Yep.
was your impression of the meeting? Were neighbors satisfied with the information they heard last night?
Well, I think the neighbors appreciated the information, but I think it was pressed on to, we're going to pay some more lawyers, some more money, and we're going to drag this thing out for another 2 years. And the bottom line is, according to the sense there, is we're probably going to lose. And,
Well, I think that is the consensus. I do. I think
okay, and now they're trying to put the blame on PMLP, which, as Barry accurately said, they're not. They're going to be the fall guys on this. And the mayor told everybody to write a letter to the commissioners and tell them bail us out, or however he expressed it, that they're the fall guys, that they're not willing to put up the units on their poles. And the thing is, it's not just Verizon. As the mayor did say, and he alluded to, we were setting the nationwide precedent on the pricing nationwide of how much it should pay for putting those units up on poles. Now, I've been out in other parts of the country, and those units are already up on poles.
What do they look like?
Well, it depends. Some of them are 2 foot by about 1.5 feet in diameter, and they got a little antenna on top, and they're right on top of a metal pole.
Okay.
The ones I saw, and they, if you didn't know about it, you wouldn't think about it.
So how tall is? So it's a little canister-like, but with an antenna sticking up.
No, well, with the little antenna sticking up, yeah.
How high did the antenna go up?
Oh, a couple feet, no more than 3.
Okay.
All right.
Paula, let me ask you a question. Was anything brought up about Michael's Limousine violating the special permit by signing a lease?
It was brought up, but it wasn't in those terms. They asked if Michael's Limousines were violating their special permit
Exactly.
by having the
a different use on his property.
right.
It's not
something to
allowed
that
in the
effect.
special
And
permit.
it wasn't elaborated on because, as I know you know, that was brought up about Michael's Limousine in his special permit in the first place, and you know, it was supposed to say no other uses, but they're looking at it. Michael's Limousine, my impression is looking at it. Don't blame me. This is a federal regulation. Says they can put that pole anywhere they want.
Well,
It oversights. It's like an overlay district, if you will.
you can put that pole wherever you want as long as I'm getting a lot of money.
That's
Otherwise,
right.
he wouldn't have let it on his property.
But it's right. You know, it's a small lot. It's got a big building there with a little bit of grass and a lot of hot top, and he's going to put it right next to his next door neighbor, and say, "Hey, I'm making my money. If you don't like it, move."
Well, are you telling me that this city couldn't find another location in South Peabody to put that tower?
They
wouldn't-
did.
They did.
Well,
that's right.
it's true.
They did.
But what about the golf course? It was built
I
on
don't think
toxic lagoons. You can't have a cell tower on the golf course?
Well, they're going to raise. They were afraid of raising the dead on the cemetery lot.
Well, we
mean,
all know.
really.
We
I
all
mean,
know what the reason was. you
Now,
know.
if you look at it from a hindsight, being 2020, if that tower had been put up in a timely fashion, just maybe the pumping station wouldn't have burnt down because somebody would have been looking over in there and saw that there was a little fire in the roof, and that somebody would have put out the fire before they burnt the building down.
Yeah, because God forbid you don't have a cell phone use.
Well, we all know what the reason is that why that site was rejected, and this is what I mean. All of this should not be a concern for the administration, for the taxpayers. There should not be any concern for PMLP and Verizon. This thing should be done by now, and it wouldn't have been, it wouldn't be carrying on the way it is right now with trying to, neighborhoods against neighborhoods and people against people. One person stopped this thing from going up. Okay,
that is correct.
We know. Okay, so and shame on them, and shame on the administration of the city for saying, sit down, take a seat, it's going there. Okay.
Yeah.
And
well, I want to go on to the AAA for a minute.
All right.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
First of all, if we all know AAA as a motorist-driven organization for the betterment of the driving public.
Of the driving public, that's right.
Okay.
Yep.
What
Great.
better place would have put it up near the jug handle? All those service vehicles would be on the road first thing in the morning, and they wouldn't come back until the end of the day, so there wouldn't be a traffic congestion. They'd be solving the problem. And it would be in the back side next to a recycle plant of 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And it's what else should
And
you
FedEx,
put in there?
and they'd be next to FedEx and all those places.
But again, some special Peabody interest
That's right.
didn't want it there because they want the land for themselves.
Well, see, this is why it's getting disgusting the way that our city is operating, because there just seems to be too much of that going on. Everybody's got their hand out for special interests, and because they got a friend who's got a friend or whatever, they want to do something, and that's not in our best interest. I mean, they're not.
No, it isn't.
We're not well served by these people on the council because
No,
they're
we're
taking
not.
care of their own stuff first. They absolutely are, and you just gotta, the public has got to run them out of town. I'm telling you. And
Well,
those
as you know, it's
councils that
election
sit
year.
there, those
We have
councils that
4
sit there and do nothing, they go along to get along. They may not be bad actors, but they're not helping us out.
Well, as you know, we've got 4 ward council races open for election, and you've got at least 1 new member on the at-large. Plus, you've got the other elected officials going on with the electric light and other positions. So
True.
it is an election year, and people should pay attention and get out there and vote.
Hey, Carl, have you heard anything about 2 Washington Street? That kind of died on the vine.
Well, I've only heard that there was a group of investors over there about a month ago looking at the property, and after that they took the signs down. So
Whoa.
I don't know what's going on.
Wow, that could be a positive sign. Hopefully we'll get our $1.25 million back. That would be the
cost
best.
And Christmas is the day after tomorrow, too.
All right. Well, listen,
Ho,
gentlemen,
ho,
nice
ho.
talking to you again.
Caller, thanks a lot. We appreciate it.
Yep, bye.
Have a good one. All right. No, but I just wanted to mention, this thing about heaping it on PMLP. It's not a silent thing. What it is, the administration of the city is trying to sell it to the public that PMLP's got to help us out here. Okay, they got to, our fate, rests with PMLP. The thing is that actually PMLP would be politically bailing out the city because our city government messed this Verizon thing up to a fare thee well, okay? And we wouldn't have to be in this position if they went with the location at Coolidge Ave, and you know that.
Well, first of all, the mayor and the city council were 100% correct voting down Michael's limousine. It's the wrong place.
True.
It's smack dab
In
right
the
in the
right.
middle of your front yard.
Yeah, yeah.
They were spot on 100%. So when the administration proposed this. The council all went for it, and after it was approved, somebody floats a balloon. The Ward 1 councilor says, oh, we can't have it there, and he floats a balloon and rallies everybody, and then it gets flushed and it goes down the toilet. So that created the first major, we're going back to court, because Verizon had delayed suing us over Michael's limousine because they were assured you were getting that, and then they pulled the rug out from under them. And then the 14 polls, that they take place at a meeting at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. That when the other councilors who weren't there came back, they tried to put in the Mullen rule, which lets councilors that missed the meeting be able to read the minutes, watch the tape, and they'd be able to participate. And for some strange reason, that got voted down.
And
so there's 2 times they could have settled this, and then I think that the mayor mentioned he hired a special attorney for the appeals case. What's that going to cost? So it's more money to protect a loser of a lawsuit.
We wouldn't have to have an appeals lawyer if the mayor said no, it's going to Coolidge Ave. This is where I want it. Okay. But the thing is, like on the Mullen rule, folks, is and I think one council, it was a Councilor Manning that made a motion about that the people's business can't be done on the council floor after midnight or after 11 o'clock or something like that.
Yes, I think that after the fact, I think that motion, after 11 o'clock, I think.
But the Mullen rule would, as Barry said correctly, if anybody that misses a meeting because the meetings are dragged on too late and they got to go home, they got responsibilities at home or whatever, and they can't stay, if they miss any portion of a meeting, they can make that up by watching the tapes, reading about it or whatever, and learning what transpired, and they should be able to vote the next time they go to the council. I don't see that with a harm that is. The fact that they were denied that, those 5 people who left the council floor, okay, because it was late, thank you. Those people who were those councilors who were denied that, I think, it's such a political show of power and arrogance. I can't, I mean, it rivals anything I've ever seen or heard about, even in the area I came from in Dorchester. I mean, I don't think anybody that was that brazen to get away with stuff like that. I can't believe that.
That's where we are.
Yeah.
Because of these lawsuits.
And this is exactly why we're in well, I won't say the 4-letter word, but that's why we're in the what. And I think that, this has got to stop. This has absolutely got to stop. And so we're going through all of this, and a lot of people may be not paying attention to it, and but your tax bills and your property taxes and all the taxes we're paying are going up all the time to pay for these these lawyers that we have to hire because the city's getting sued all the time. I mean, you talked about Washington Street. We talked about that, that's the Betancourt building. You talked to Washington Street. You talked about it. How many times we mentioned on the show the city should never have gotten involved in real estate? If we mentioned it once, we mentioned it 100 times. And guess what? I mean, every time I don't know of anybody on the city council. Is anybody on the city council a real estate agent?
No.
Is the mayor a real estate agent?
I don't think so.
Are the lawyers, the solicitors, are they, I mean, I don't know who knows about real estate, but why are we getting involved in real estate when you don't know anything about it? And our record has not been good on real estate transactions. It's not been good.
Look at the state of the real estate market. We just had a huge real estate sale in Peabody Square for $17.5 million. A new company came in and bought all of Norman Lee and his group that paid, 5 years ago, they paid $8.5 million. And I think they received $17.5 million for the properties. They almost $9 million in 5 years net profit. So everybody's making money in real estate except for one entity. Right? So, but I want to comment about that. That's an amazing amount of money. And they even made, that developer even made more when he bought it because he sold off 2 other pieces for about $1 million.
Yeah.
So the guy made probably closer to 10 million in 5 years. But this is my point. So a developer comes in, he bought 2 Main Street, which is the rooming house, which I think the transfers are coming up this week on the city council. How do you keep rents affordable if you just spent $17.5 million on these properties? He has a huge mortgage. He has to maintain the buildings. He has real estate taxes, water and sewer, all this stuff. How is, by paying that, it's almost where we want affordable housing, but how can it stay affordable when you just spent $17.5 million? So it's a real concern for the housing market, in the downtown. And, look, it's great news, I guess, for the city. They're going to raise his taxes and they'll get more money. But, the article said he's going to spend $200,000 over the next 2 years. Well, $200,000, what percentage is that of 17 million?
Yeah, it's not
divided by 2.
Yeah, it's not a
That's
lot.
like $100,000 a year. You probably couldn't paint all the buildings for $100,000 a year and do the maintenance. So that tells me it's just going to be status quo. You're going to have to raise the rents because you have a huge mortgage. So I hope it's not doesn't force people out. That's
No, I agree. When you said 200,000, I'm saying that doesn't seem like a lot of money, but anyway, they're giving us the signal. We got like 30 seconds left to go or whatever. So just want to say thank you to the callers. Hope you enjoyed the show. We try to cover as much as we could tonight, and we'll see you again in a couple of weeks when we ask you to make the call. We're going to be doing some political shows too, by the way.
Yeah, we'll notify the councilors when the shows are, the councilors at large and the ward councilors to come on pretty soon.
We're going to cover the elections like we always do. So, okay, thanks a lot for joining us. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.